All right, this is going to be kind of an overarching look at how you lose a game where you completely outplay the other team for large stretches. I think the Ravens had 250 yards in the first half, held the Steelers to less than 100 yards on 25 plays. Ravens had, I think, 15 first downs. And at one point, we're ahead 7-0. Third drive of the game had two other times inside the opposing team's 5, I think, in the first half. How do you lose that game? Multiple things have to go wrong. Drops, clearly. Turnovers, the Justice Hill fumble. Decisions by the coach, whatever you think of it, clearly had an impact. A blocked special teams play. And then what's another element of it? The Steelers didn't turn the football over offensively. We wasted a perfect opportunity, which I'll show you a little bit of after their muffed punt return that was recovered by Kevon Seymour. I don't know how Kevon Seymour didn't score there. I don't remember who tackled him. I know one of his teammates kind of helped him up, and then we were unable to get into the end zone. Let's look at some of the film. Unfortunately, first possession. I think Lamar's playing with an injured wrist. I think it's quite obvious. You can see the tape or something that he has on his hand, and I think it created less zip on his throws. Now, that's not the reason for this drop. This is just a drop, but this ball could be thrown out more in front of Zay Flowers. To be honest with you, Lamar, if you ask me, was out there playing like a warrior when he has something wrong with his hand that's impacting his throw. And this ball could be thrown more towards the top of the numbers on the other side as it stands. Zay Flowers has to show up and it has to slow up. And this is probably a touchdown if he catches the ball, and he catches the ball in stride. Zay Flowers is available to make plays yesterday, and he did, in fact, make some, but clearly left some out on the field. We get a touchdown from Justice Hill at some point to go up 7-0, and at this point, we are rolling over the Steelers' defense. This is easy. We're just blocking everybody down and reading the end man on the line of scrimmage. This is an easy alignment to deal with if you down block everybody. Very similar to Sticks Blitz 0. If you just block them down from a three-man surface, it's an easy give to the running back, or an easy read in this case. Once we're ahead 7-0, I think this is the third drive of the game. We're down there again, 2nd and goal from the 4. This incomplete pass to Mark Andrews is both interesting and clearly very disappointing. I mean, this ball is put in a perfect spot by Lamar. They're dropping TJ Watt out of here to try to impact Mark Andrews, and then an inside linebacker, I think 55, who actually played a nice game. I think he had 9 tackles. Him and Quan Alexander played well, is just walling off Andrews. So instead of Andrews taking this route across the field like he normally does, he just spins it back to the side. It's a read. It's not a ad lib type thing. It's a read that they practice, and in this case, him and Lamar have read the same thing correctly. Puts that ball up there for Andrews to catch, and we drop it. Clearly disappointing. The next drop by Bateman is equally disappointing. I see no reason to blame him differently than Andrews. Both of those guys had opportunities to make play. And again, Lamar's accuracy and the timing has been great the last 2 weeks throwing the football. The throw to OBJ, which I'll show later, is a poor decision and a poor throw, for real. But generally, we're getting the ball out at the right time and in the right place, on time, on target, and then the right amount of touch. This is a perfect throw by Lamar, and I still kind of can't believe that Bateman dropped this thing. He's too talented a guy to be struggling like that, and I hope that other guys are able to lift him up, number one, but sometimes you need somebody to get in his face and tell him to wake up, because you're better than this. God gave you more talent than that, and God gave you more ability. Go out there and use it. It was a 3rd and goal. This one could have put us up 14-0. I love that Lamar is scanning. I'll show you. Look at his helmet, and you can see what he's got on his wrist. So he's dealing with something that's creating less zip, less ability to get zip on the ball. But he's reading it. I love the route combination. You got Andrews underneath, kind of pulling the linebacker up, and then Bateman over the top. Bateman is our X. I mean, he's the guy we put backside to make those plays. When he gets those opportunities, he's got to take advantage of them. We have to settle for a field goal after being inside the 5. Yeah, it puts us up 10-0, but it's a disappointing end to what should have been a promising drive. At that point, as fans, we're not frustrated, but we're pissed off that we're not up 14-0. Screen to Justice Hill. 5.5 minutes left in the second quarter on a 2nd and 10. It's still 10-0 at this point. I mean, we're rolling. This is the 3rd screen that's either been called back for a penalty or we fumbled it. The screen to Kenyon Drake against the Colts, very similar situation. It's kind of ironic that I'm going to mention this name. While I was still coaching, I watched a video probably 24 times, and we implemented drills that Kirby Smart advocating for using. A bunch of different names, Stumble Bum, a couple of other ones. Basically, he referenced a study that Bill Belichick had the Patriots do years ago, which is 70 to 75% of fumbles are not caused by a defender that you see. This makes sense, right? They're caused by a defender that you don't see. So what we would teach our kids and what we would practice every day in multiple drills was you make your cut off of the defender that you see, but your ball security is for the defender that you don't see. Now that's an important point if you ask me, because Justice Hill's a ball carrier's security with the football can be appropriate for the defender that they see, but inappropriate for the defender that they don't see. What that forces you to do is operate as if there's always someone attacking you from a direction that you do not see. Why do I mention that? We've got 2 fumbles in these situations. It appears as if that's not being stressed to me. Our ball security is a problem, not just Justice Hill, not just Kenyon Drake. The entire team's ball security is a problem. If it were not, these things would not be happening. You're going to have backside pursuit, and you're going to have backside hustle plays. It's a beautiful call, beautiful job by Lamar, getting it there on time. This is set up to help us score, and the ball security is just not there. It's loose at the exact moment when Larry Ogunjobi, who's an underrated defensive tackle, comes in there and punches it out, ruins another opportunity to go down there and put us up 17-0 or maybe 13-0. All right, so then this is late in the second quarter, a minute and a half left, something like that, maybe a minute and 10. An unbelievable play by Lamar to stop his feet and throw back in the middle of the field. Great adaptation by Zay Flowers. Ends up being 29 yards, gets us down there in Steelers territory with about 54, 55 seconds left. So even though we're not playing well, it's 10-3. We're not playing well offensively in terms of finishing things. We're in position to go down here and get another score of some type to put us up 13-3 or possibly 17-3. Leads to a series of dominoes that just ruined us. So 3rd and 10 to Nelson Aguilar. He's been really good at this year, making these catches on 3rd down that give us the opportunity to maybe go for it. I offer to you that 25 seconds left in the half or maybe 30 seconds left in the half, that's not the time to do it. You've already wasted an opportunity down there inside the 5. You already fumbled the football away. From a decision standpoint, it's a bad decision to line up and act like you might snap the football. I don't care whether you think the Steelers can go down and score within 30 seconds. Of course, it's a possibility. Did you not watch how our defense was playing at this point? If you are going to come in the comments section and say, Coach, we can't just kick a field goal here and then kick off and give them the ball back with 30 seconds, they might score. That means you weren't watching the game. That means you were going in the kitchen too often and not paying attention to how our defense was playing. We're shutting them down completely, and we continued to do so in the 3rd quarter. The idea that leaving more time on the clock for that Steelers, I don't mean any disrespect towards the Steelers fans or their team. They played well. They outplayed us from the standpoint of didn't turn the football over, didn't kill themselves. That offense is not talented to go down and score with 30 seconds left. This is needless risk. It's okay if you don't disagree. We can disagree about it. We're all pissed off that the Ravens lost. There's no reason to risk things like this happening. You blame Tyler Linderbaum? Okay. Who do you blame for the fumble last year when Sam Hubbard took it back to the house? You blame Tyler Huntley. Okay. Who do you blame for Justice Hill's fumble? Justice Hill. Who do you blame for Kenyon Drake's fumble? Kenyon Drake. You blame all the players for everything, and you don't think that there's a possibility that at some point it's a lack of preparedness for these situations? Harbaugh's look on his face over there was aghast. I showed it in 2 videos already. It should have been, because it's his fault. When you don't prepare your team for situations, those situations are going to come up at times, and that lack of preparedness is going to show. If Tyler Linderbaum wants to take the blame for snapping the football, cool. The install should have been taught better. And if you don't understand that, that's because you've never installed anything. You've never been responsible for installing something for 60 people and their parents and their cousins and their uncles who come to the game and want to see their kids succeed. This is millions of fans watching their team not be prepared by their coaches for situations. We're a bad situational football team right now. And if you think that John Harbaugh should just get a pass, you don't really know anything about coaching, probably don't know anything about leading. Fourth down is just the bane of our existence at this point. We have not been able to capitalize on enough of those situations. Analytics, situational choices, whatever you want to call it. We do not have a large percentage of fourth down conversions that are succeeding to justify even lining up there. All right, another opportunity for Rashad Bateman to make a play. I think this is 12 minutes left in the third quarter. I think it's still 10-3 at this point. And smart job by Monken and Lamar motioning Justice Hill out of there to confirm that it's man. The inside linebacker went out there with him. So wheel and run, the slot, fade, go, really. And this is a well-thrown ball. I don't think Lamar's ball had as much zip on it yesterday, but it was still accurate. If this isn't a ball that should be caught 6 out of 10 times, okay, fine. Lamar put it in a place where it could be caught. That's the point here, is that Lamar is delivering the football to these guys on time and on target to allow them to make plays, and we just didn't make enough at all on Sunday. We got open, but didn't finish the play. Aguilar, similar concept in the slot, one-on-one. Same defender, I believe. I could be wrong. I'm wrong. It's a different defender. And he's wide open this time. Lamar couldn't have walked out there and placed it in his hands any better. Handed it off to him as Aguilar ran past. Beautiful throw. As far as throwing the football, Lamar is throwing the football exquisite in the last 2 weeks. It's unfortunate to see all these drops ruin that. Clearly, we're frustrated as Ravens fans because not only do we want to see him succeed, we want to see his numbers be really high so he can get the respect that he deserves. Last couple of plays I want to show you are not going to be fun, to be honest with you. The lack of effort on some of this stuff by two players I really like is astounding. That's a sack, after that incompletion to Aguilar. Defense did force 2 punts in the third quarter and then another punt to open the fourth. And then this is one that I put on coaching. We've lined up in trips, pistol, closed 2 times already to this point. This is the trips, this is the pistol, this is the closed. This is the third time we've done it in the game. It's now 13:40 left in the fourth quarter. And we get a good gain out of it, but my point is TJ Watt knew the play. He knew what the play was. He dives inside to force us to bow it outside so the inside linebacker can scrape. Now, it doesn't work out in his favor. Falele does a nice job here. Ricard gets called for a hold. You cannot line up in the same formation and run the same play probably more than twice in a single game and be surprised when a team is effective at it. Now, you say, well, Coach, it's Ricard's fault. We give away our intentions by showing them the formation too soon, leading to this same possession, right? Backed us up. Punt gets blocked. Who do you blame for the hold? Ricard? Who do you blame for the block kick? Geno Stone? At some point, you've got to say, all of the guys we're blaming have white jerseys on and purple pants on. All of them are players that someone is responsible for. This is a bleeding team. Now, we may go to England and we may beat the brakes off the Tennessee Titans. We might. It'll be good for the team to get out there and be by themselves. This is Geno Stone. Shocking, the lack of effort here. Basically thinks the play is over, releases him, and the punt gets blocked. I'm really shocked that a player of Geno Smith's mentality and caliber, the way he's worked himself into the lineup in Baltimore to be a productive NFL player, I'm shocked that he let that happen. Let's go ahead and blame him. and not say that maybe somebody above him didn't spend enough time or doesn't have us in the right focus. This is after Kevon Seymour's recovered fumble nearly saved us. It's 10-8, a little less than 6 minutes left in the game. And the first down run play is to Gus, and I think it's for 3 yards, maybe 3.5. They are forcing a give read. Cool, good for the Steelers. What would be wrong with lining up and doing it again? We are not good at throwing from inside the 5 in my memory recall. So we choose to run. Now, this is cool design by Monken. He's using Justice Hill as bait to pull someone out of this space. It almost works. But once Quan Alexander sees Fitzpatrick go out there, he folds back inside. Simpson has got to go block a safety, and Quan Alexander totally unblocked at the point of attack. Not poor design, it's great design. It just worked out in this way that Alexander saw Fitzpatrick go out there with him, folds back inside. Great play on Andrews, who's unable to make him miss in that moment. Creates a third down, and it's not a good matchup. It's just not a good matchup. OBJ versus Joey Porter Jr., a big athletic corner. OBJ's first game back. In my opinion, the 2 play calls after the 3 or 3.5 yard run by Gus illustrate that we don't have any offensive identity. We are a multiple offense. We can throw the ball. Lamar's throwing the ball really well, except for this one. It's a poor decision by him to go to that matchup in a poorly located football. He's put the ball on the inside of Joey Porter. Joey Porter's able to go high point it. For my money, let's go somewhere else with the football if this is the matchup that we're going to get. The Steelers are bringing pressure. Another illustration of we're just not as effective against pressure. On a day when Lamar threw the ball really, really well, I'm fine if we want to throw the ball in that situation. I just think that's a bad matchup for us in terms of 2023 in that short space. In the reaction video last night, I likened it to a one-on-one situation in basketball. If you've played a lot of basketball, you understand what I'm talking about. There's certain guys that can take people. OBJ in his first game back is not that guy at this moment. He's just not, and it's proven here. The blind faith that we're going to make something good happen there is a little bit frustrating to me, number one. Number two, I want to pose a question to you. What if we threw that on first down and it went incomplete? Would we have run the ball that in that sequence? Like, what do we have to do to run the ball and at some point say, we're going to run at you and we're going to impose our will on you? It's 10-8. A touchdown gives you a 17-8 lead with less than 6 minutes left in the game. Game over with the way our defense was playing. Yeah, I know Marlon Humphrey gave up a big touchdown to George Pickens. I get it. We're already behind at that point, I think, right? My point is, it takes so many guys making mistakes to blow this game against the Steelers. At some point, it's got to be looked at as, why is every place bleeding on our roster? Out on the field, at least. Why is everyone making mistakes that we don't want them to make? I don't know, man. Where I come from, you are who your record says you are. If you're a 5-5 team, your coach is a 5-5 coach. Right now we're 3-2. There's a lot of injuries, so we've managed to get 3 wins out of the first 5. Schedule don't get any easier. We go across the seas to face the Titans, who's a pissed off team too with a really good defense, and then we come back home to play a Lions team that's surging. Missed opportunity, and this right here is the type of game that puts us in situations like we were last year, needing to win games to get into the playoffs in the last 2 or 3 or 4 weeks. We were surging at the end of last year, and we very easily could have beaten the Cincinnati Bengals if we had beaten the Giants or beaten the Jaguars or the Bills or the Dolphins, games that we had control of at a certain point. We wouldn't have had to go to Cincinnati in the first place. You guys let me know what you think of some of my thoughts breaking this down. It damn sure ain't fun for you, and it wasn't a whole heck of a lot of fun for me to rewatch it now the third time. So many things had to go wrong. The anatomy of a terrible loss, there it is for you. If you think other Ravens fans would like to watch this video, please consider grabbing a link to it and sharing it out on social media. I will have a video coming out on our run game Monday night that I've kind of pre-planned, anticipating a win by the Ravens, which didn't go our way. It'll be a look at some of the concepts that we are using with great success. Appreciate you guys' time.